Raise your hand if you've ever been busy. Raise your hand if you've ever got tired and feel like you just need a couple days off. Most people would have both hands up right now. That's our world, fast-paced and income-driven. That's why we get caught up in our own lives so often, and that's why it's understandable when most people don't focus on worries that aren't their own. So what makes someone become a humanitarian? Someone whose whole life focuses on the welfare of other humans.
When you go back and you see kids that were living on the streets, kids had no structure, they had no routine, people who had nothing, they didn't have meals. When you see that they're all of a sudden they're waking up, they have structure, they have something to do, they have a meal in their belly, their life changes completely. They like I said, their self-esteem changes, their self-worth, their ability to know who they are in the world and what they have the potential of becoming. You know, to give that hope, to give that dream, and then to watch people actually use that to do good for themselves and others it's amazing. It becomes an addiction.
And with Serena's help, we'll find the meaning of life to a humanitarian.
Hello, how are you?
Good as always, especially on a Thursday night with the Queen. The Queen.
Thank you, Mama.
Am I saying right? Yeah.
You're the queen of all queens, so you wear that crown, and then once in a while you'll pass it on.
I deem you. I always say I deem you. Oh. You are the queen.
No.
But no, on the serious tip, you know I always call you queen because you deserve it, because you're just doing so much in the universe, lady. Every time I see you're doing something else, I'm like, I can't even keep up with Serena anymore. I mean, we're on a show together, and I still can't keep up with you because you're doing so much.
Yeah, I've been told that by other board members too. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I mean, we're here tonight and we're celebrating the Healing Humanity show that was created thanks to you, Barbara, our producer. And, you know, tonight's an exciting night. For those of you who are watching the Healing Humanity show, we always feature the good works that we help heal humanity are doing in the world. We also showcase other charities who are having an impact in the world. Usually the first end of the show, we talk to our members and our guests of Help Heal Humanity. And then the second half, we bring in other charities. And today on the first half of the show, we are talking about you, Miss Barbara.
Oh, look at me. I'm like,
and I was already imagining, because I don't fully know your story.
You said that before, and I was like, and then when you said, well, maybe we just do you one day, and I'm like, okay. No,
I think it would be great, because every once in a while we interview people and you say something like, you know, yes, I've been down that road, or I've had that experience, and I look like you did.
It's funny because I kind of see your head spinning like, what's she talking about? What?
Right. And so that's why it was exciting, you know, we met each other. I think we're both in awe of each other, of the work and of the great positive spirits. I think we both radiate a lot of positive energy and light in the world. And so I think I guess it was, I've never known your story. So today's an opportunity to hear like why you're of service, and not only why you're of service, but how involved in service you are, supporting charities, representing charities. All the events that you do with all your other platforms are always raising funds and awareness for charities. So today we have an opportunity to talk about you. So where do we begin, Barbara? When did
you can? Oh,
yeah.
well, when I was around 3 years old, no, I'm just kidding. I know you're like, don't go that far back because I'm older than you, so we don't need to go that far. But no, on a serious note, first of all, thank you, Serena, for letting me to just to talk a little bit about me. Because I'm always one thing, and you probably noticed this too. I'm always wanting to put other people and say, no, I want you to talk about yourself, and it's not about me. That's what I always say. And there's a big reason for that, is because when I was younger, between 7 and 10, I was really heavily bullied in my school, and it wasn't just like one or two children. Some people get bullied. It's like maybe that big bully, that one girl or that one boy. Well, the whole class in school was bullying me, to the point where they basically told me why am I even on this earth. I mean, there was a few little boys that told me that at the age of 7, basically saying, you shouldn't even be here. You're not even worth anything. I mean, these are little kids telling me this. And I went through that for like 5 years out of that grammar school or grade school. I don't know what they call it now. I'm aging myself.
Well, but, I mean, let's go back to that, because you said like you were 7 years old, and that lasted a number of years. And like, those are critical years of your learning, your growth, your development. And to be scarred at such a young age. And like you said, it wasn't one time or two times. It happened like multiple times for long periods of time by multiple bullies, which I hope and pray times have gotten better, that, people in schools are on top of bullying, having a zero tolerance. But back then, like you said, you're going back to your era, your time, where, people didn't really pick up the bullying so much, and people didn't really get it. So you were definitely going through that in silence. So maybe like, tell us what was going through your mind, like what was happening.
Yeah. Well, I really just thought that, I was a mistake. I mean, I got to the point where I thought I was a mistake. I shouldn't even be here. I mean, especially when you have not just 1, 2, 3, or 4, but a lot of people telling you that. But, I always tell people there's always going to be those certain individuals that are placed in your life to maneuver you out of what's going on. And the bigger picture of that is, and that's why I always commend you and call you queen, because it took a teacher in one of my classrooms that was looking at all this and was very upset about it. And we would meet every day after class, and she would give me, well, now you call them, now that I'm older, they're affirmations. But back then she would just give me, she called them power words for myself. She said, Barbara, we're going to start giving you power words. And first I was like, I don't know. As a kid, you're like, oh, okay, power, I don't know. But she explained to me that, I want you, these power words are going to be more powerful than the words that you're hearing from the children that are around you. So every time you hear somebody say that you ugly, your power word in your mind is going to be, I'm beautiful. They just don't understand. That's what she used to tell me. She said, if they say that you shouldn't be here, and then your power word is going to be like, no, I have to be here because I want to be a big influence in the world when I get older. Yeah. So she would just give me those different things to kind of help me walk through of what I was dealing with at age group.
And thank the teacher who was able to do that for you and to accommodate you. But I mean, to be feeling those feelings and experiencing them on your own, I mean, did you reach out to mom or dad or?
Well, it's funny because I had between the teacher and my dad, who to this day I call him the whole diamond experience network that I created is around surrounding him. Because one thing about the teacher, she started with me and she told me about the diamond story too. So she said, okay, I'm going to tell you about the diamond story. And she said, you're a diamond in the rough. And she said, and then she told me how, sometimes you go through things in life to mold and shape you to become that wonderful, beautiful diamond that you're going to be. And she used to always talk about that diamond story. Well, it's funny. And to this day, Serena, I don't know if my dad and the teacher got together, because after she told me that story, it was like maybe 3 weeks in. He used to tell me, he said, he used to give me these bear hugs and talk about how he loved me so much, because I used to come home crying all the time because I was going through that whole thing. And he was like, no, you're my princess, and don't even think about it because you're a diamond in the rough. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. So who's talking to who here? So I don't know. I just had that feeling that they talk, but I asked him one time when I got older, and he said, no, he even told me, he said, I didn't know she told you that.
Oh, wow.
So he basically said, it just came from the heart to you, because I looked at you as a diamond in the rough, because he said you were dealing with more things in life because of what you were going to become. And that's what he used to tell me. And that's what she used to tell me. So that gave me hope, even though when a child, it was hurting. Of course it was hurting. I was crying all the time. I didn't want to go to school most of the time. And you would think my grades would have been really just like, okay, she's just totally to her grades. But it seemed like I was pushing myself more instead of going the opposite. Yeah. And that's what I'm so glad that happened that way.
Yeah. And wow, first of all, thanks for sharing that story. And I did not know that the Diamond Factor experience was based on that story. That was the first time I ever heard that. Yeah. So, and it gave me chills. It gave me chills because, I always say, and that's because I was maybe a little bit opposite to you. I struggled academically, but socially I thrived, right? And so I thought I was stupid because I didn't have the academic smarts. And it's like you said, it was that one person who believed in me, or that for me it was two as well. And that's why I think Help Heal Humanity is where it is today, because I believe 100% through my especially my teaching experience, that just that one person that is there for you, that inspires you, that motivates you, that keeps you on path and on track, can make such a significant difference in the world, And I always say it just takes one person to believe in you and you believe in them, and then together you can move mountains. And that is exactly what you did. But still, I mean, to go through that so many years at a young age, I don't even know.
It was very difficult. I mean, I'm basically giving the points of how I coped with it at the time when I was younger, between two individuals that I really cared about, especially my dad. And because my mother, now that's a different story. It's like yin and yang there. My mother, I know she loved me very much, but I always tell people, you have to understand, and I found this out when I got older, and then my mother before she passed, that she had her story in her life. And I used to call her Sergeant Beckley, because she was the opposite of my dad. My dad was loving, caring, held me, gave me hugs, told me all the butterflies, all the good stuff, right? My mother was like, just suck it up and hit him. I mean, that's what she would say.
Yeah.
See, I mean, she was just like that hardcore sergeant, love her to death. Didn't, went through my life because our relationship was kind of because of how she was, but then found out how much hurt and pain she went through when I got older, and we had that last talk before she passed. So with the other thing that resonates so much, why I always want to help people and make people shine, I always talk about giving visibility and everything, is because the other hard time that I went through is when I turned 17 years old.
Okay.
Wonderful dad, I love my dad. Well, he passed when I turned 17. Oh. Yeah. And it was a hard pass because he was murdered. Yeah. And they found him in his apartment 5 days after. And basically, I always say somebody took him away from me. I always say it like that because I felt like that was just, my heart just was taken when that happened. So that was another, with me, with the old bullying thing, I dealt with that part. And then now my person in my whole wide world gone. And yeah. Now, are you frozen, Serena? Are you? I was just thinking, are you okay? Because I seen you froze. I said, oh no, I don't want you to be. I know that's coming in, but yeah.
I did freeze, but I could still hear you. And I can't even imagine that. So you're going through this bullying stage. You perhaps just get out of it, or it's reminiscing in the background, and then you find out that your father, who happens to be your light, your support, your everything, is murdered at 17 years old.
Yeah.
Do you know why he was murdered? Do you know that whole story? Like,
Well, the story is he had him and my mother basically separated, and they had divorce a few years before that, and that crushed me too because they kind of forced me to stay with her. I would say it like that. They forced me to. I wanted to stay with him. I was about to go to high school. I mean, everything was kind of in the works, and then they decided not to be together anymore, and then I had to wind up going to society I don't want to go to. Well, that's how the breakup, and then from that point, he met somebody, which I was kind of happy about a little bit that he met somebody because, my father was type of person, he would give you the world. I mean, if you asked for $1 million, he would try to find it. Serena, if he was alive today and he knew that what you needed right now, he would be going around the continent trying to find that money for you because that's just how.
That's you are your father. You are your.
Well, that's a lot of people tell me that.
Yeah, you are.
They say you have his spirit, Barbara, because you act just like him. I was like,
yeah.
But and I'm glad I am because he was a part of me. But he was but see, you know how sometimes what happens, Serena, when you're so open and so good-hearted and so you kind of just let everybody in, right? And some people you let in shouldn't come in. And that's kind of what happened. The person that he met, I thought, and I kept it was weird because I kept asking. I said, well, can I meet her? And he's like, yeah, I want you to visit. I want you to meet her, but she's busy. Come to find out she was busy after, what happened to him. And we found out she was a prostitute and she was out in the streets at night. She told him she was working night shifts and stuff. Well, I don't know with the police and everything when we were trying to find out what really went on, because they found her in the apartment when they found him. She was in the bedroom. He was basically they whatever happened, if she did it or whoever did it, left him in the living room, and where they stabbed him 40 times. They did some, it was bad. And she was still in the room all those days. So because she was all drugged up and everything. So we found out this whole other half side of her. And they feel like that either she did it or maybe her, what they call them, pimps or whatever. Yeah. Must have went in and he probably didn't have the money, or maybe she owed money, whatever the case may be. And they just basically, did that to him. And
that's horrific, Barbara.
Isn't that crazy? And to this day, Serena, she was in jail. She was going back and forth the court for the whole year. I mean, we went through this whole court thing, and they said they couldn't find enough evidence, so they let her go.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't even believe that, Barbara.
Yeah.
There was no closure. The person that my mom was my light, I guess, like your dad, right? Mm-hmm. And my mom died, and I'm still grieving to this day.
How long ago?
It was 6 years ago.
Okay.
But my mom was my light. My mom was the reason why I am who I am and where I am today.
Thank God for her.
I could not imagine, I couldn't imagine losing her 6 years ago when it happened, but let alone as a teenager.
Yeah.
Right? Barbara, and I know there's still more to your story, but I didn't know about those, those adolescent years, like you said. And then, being bullied, being told you're no good, you have no purpose in this world, you shouldn't be here, to your dad being murdered, stabbed 40 times, and then having no closure on that. How long, even to this day, how do you,
it basically, again, remember I told you people come in your life to basically save you from yourself. And when that happened and I found out about it, because the police called my mother and basically she told me, in not a really good way either, because I told you she was Sergeant Beckley. So, basically she just told me, Serena, I just got a phone call from police. They found your father dead in his apartment. That's how she said it, just like that. And I'm sitting there so I lost it. I completely lost Serena. I went in my bedroom. I shut the door real hard and I just tore up everything I could see. Now I know people said, Dad, you were like I was, yeah, I thought I was just lost it. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe what I heard.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that he was gone. For some reason, I felt like through that cycle when I was going through that, he was like maybe away on a business trip, or maybe he's visiting relatives. I mean, that was in my head, not the point that, somebody just, murdered him. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was trying to think about that. So to the point where my mother had to wind up calling call the paramedics to get me, because she was concerned because I was tearing up everything in my bedroom. So they took me, they picked me up from the house, and they basically took me to the hospital and put me on a 48-hour suicide watch because they were scared of what I might do, which they were, at that time, they were right. Because at that time, Serena, I was thinking about just, I'm done. I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was just like, I'm done. I said, my father's not here to really, still put that, the information in me, and I'm 17 now. I'm just about, I was, 3 months away from graduating from high school, 3 or 4 months. Oh yeah, at that time, I'm sitting here like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. To my mother, she's handling it her way, and so I was just like, I'm just going to do it. So I found something. I think I found like a butter knife. Now that I think about this, Serena, I'm like, that was crazy. But I found like a butter knife. And I was about to say, I said, there has to be a way I could figure out how to slit my something. And that's what I was basically in my mind thinking, okay, this is how I want to do this.
Yeah.
And before I was figuring out this way, the nurse came in my room, and she's, because they had to take vitals and make sure I was okay and all that stuff. And she's like, okay, blood pressure's okay, you're okay. And they had me on a little sedative, just to ease me down. And the only thing I was thinking about, Serena, is, okay, can you leave so I could do this? I just want to end this. I just don't want to talk to you or anybody. I'm just done. I was just done. And she was walking out the room, Serena, and then she turns around. And I was like, no, back in my mind, still like, what? And she's like, I don't know why this is coming into my brain right now, but something's telling me whatever you're thinking about, don't do it. Because she said, I'm just, whoever left you or whatever happened, I don't know the details, but they wouldn't want you to do what you're about to do. And she said, because, now this was the thing that changed everything, Serena. She said, because something's telling me you are a diamond in the rough and you do not need to leave this earth.
Oh.
So I'm swelling up right now.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, Serena, everything I was thinking about, I just felt my dad was in that room at that time telling me to stop.
Yeah. Oh God, Barbara, why you make me cry?
I'm sorry, now you got me crying. I got myself crying. But and usually when I tell this, I don't get, but I think because with you, because we got this kindred spirit. I think that's why it's there. But
I do also believe so much in that spirit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, the woman didn't know you and what came through her. She felt like she needed to share with you. And that for sure, 100% was your dad. That was your dad. And I believe in that. And so, like, your dad saved your life and he didn't want you to give up and to end your life, especially because of him. And oh my God, Barbara, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine.
But that's what changed, that changed the turn in my heart and in my brain to say, no, I can't. I told myself when I was laying in that bed, I said, whatever I do, I need to move forward because of him. Because I believed, like I said, that he was in that room and she was talking to him. Yeah. To me. So I just knew for a fact that I had to move on. I had to move forward.
Wow. Oh my God. That's so beautiful and sad and everything at the same time. And so, I mean, I don't want to rush through this, but So
No, we got to go our other half, Serena. We might have to do a part 2 of Barbara.
I think we do have to do a part 2, Barbara, because I know we didn't even like we're still at your teenage years. You know what I mean? We haven't even gotten to some of the other stuff that I do know about you that happened later on in life. And so I think, let's definitely talk more about your journey and, and just, and I love your story because you can connect and relate to so many people on so many levels, and you've experienced extreme suffering, suffering in this world, being bullied, the loss of a parent, murder, suicide, and then get through that as well as other stuff that we haven't even discussed. And then you have this light and this energy and this radiance. You have it. Like, I mean, I know you have it. And I know we have it.
Yeah, together we're just like.
and I think it's because of the amount of pain and sorrow you've gone through, experienced, and those little things, those little gifts that you recognized along the way to never give up, right? And to stay in those power words and to change your story and to remember your father and honor your life almost for your father.
Yes. And just I mean, because I know, like you said, I can come back and say more about other stories of my life, but I just want to just say for everybody and for you, first of all, that's why I'm always thanking you so much over and over again for who you are and what you do, especially being that teacher, especially knowing that even though, like you said at the beginning, you were kind of like, I don't have the academics part of it, and you pushed through that, Serena, and now you're like the angel for all the children that needs you. And when I look at you, I look at the teacher that when I had to go to that teacher and she was helping me with the power words.
Yeah.
She saved my life. She was saving my life through that. And I know you're always saving all the children's life for what you do. So I commend you for that. And then when I found about this Help Heal Humanity, I was like, this is the link. I just kept saying to myself, this is the link.
I mean, this podcast is because of you. You with the Celebrate You and Women in Wellness platform. You've brought in funding for our charity. You brought our charity into the spotlight, and all the work that you do. Like I said, it's mind blowing to me that you are constantly thinking about others and how to save others and how to help others, how to motivate them, how to inspire them, how to get them to wherever they need to be. Just that little step, whatever that step is. I think you provide that for people, and then you provide that for charities and people like me who have the strength to keep going, because it's hard dealing with life, with the circumstances, with the realities, and then try to be that for other people, so I know we need to be that for other people. I know that this is the reason why we've gone through our suffering, and we are turning our suffering into goodness for others. And so I commend you for all of the great work that you're doing. I think, if we can continue the conversation about, what happened after you were 17.
To keep people thinking for a minute. But I definitely want to continue on. And again, I just thank you for letting me, be on the platform here to kind of talk about, my background and why I do what I do and why I'm so fully invested in Help Heal Humanity and anything that I can do. Like I said, any gifts that I have, I just want to give to the nonprofit organization, because you're just a bolt of light, and we need to help these people, these children. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is what it's all about.
And to anybody who's listening, who's suffering, who's going through stuff, and look at people like Barbara or myself, who look like we present happy, we're happy, we're givers, we're lovers, we're educators, we're healers. But that's because of our sorrows and overcoming our sorrows and being there for others. So anybody who is suffering and going through something traumatic in their lives, you have to know that you are going through that for a reason, and that you can't give up. That's the one thing I always say, don't give up, never give up, because whatever it is you're going through is preparing you for your next step and your next step, and things do get better. And your success story become somebody else's healing journey. So thank you, Barbara, for sharing your teenage years, your adolescent and teenage years with us. I know we have to go to commercial and come back with another charity, but thank you for sharing your light, your wisdom, and being, ooh, I cut out.
That's okay. You're back. Can you hear me now? You got okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, ladies. So definitely we need to do another take on the second part of Barbara Beckley. But now that now we're gonna move forward, my wonderful co-host, Miss Serena Bufalino, and Help Heal Humanity Show. If you're just chiming in, we have this show every Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. I keep thinking of the time zone because I keep thinking of my time zone. I gotta stop that. So it's 9 o'clock Eastern time every Thursday. The first half we talk about anybody that's like a volunteer, board member, just a friend, somebody that's really just engulfed in Help Heal Humanity. We bring them on so they can tell their stories and what they love to do and why they love to do it with HHH. And on the other half, we decided, me and Serena was talking and saying, maybe, there's so many other nonprofit organizations out there too, just like us. Why don't we give them some spotlight too? And I love that Serena opened her heart with that, because sometimes a lot of people be like, you know what? No, this is all about me. It ain't about them. And she just has a heart of gold where she said, yeah, let's do it. Let's do the other half. So we are about to bring on another wonderful guest. I want to give a little background. We're going to go to commercial, then we're going to bring her on, Miss Christina Atkins, and her mission, the mission of her nonprofit. And I love this because hers is HHH too. Did you see that?
I did.
It's called Heaven Has a Heart. And I was like, oh my God, this is already. So her nonprofit is to improve the educational outcomes of children in vulnerable domestic and international communities. Accesses and opportunities are the core value of HHH. Heaven Has a Heart. Through volunteer services, youth department, and community-centered programs. And then we seek to improve the outcome of young people, both at home and abroad. So we're going to hear, I don't want to say anything else because I want this wonderful lady, and I call her Lady Queen, Miss Christine, to really give us more on that. But before we bring this on, we need to go to our sponsors. So we're going to go to our sponsors real quick, and we will be right back.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Queen.
Hi. Good evening.
It's such a pleasure.
So nice to meet you.
You too. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, my Wi-Fi is really acting up right now, so I think Barbara, you might have to carry it.
Okay, no problem. So first of all, Miss Christina, thank you so much for I want to say this, for listening to the sound of me looking for nonprofit organizations, because I know you came through where I was asking people if anybody wanted to be spotlighted as a nonprofit, and you came to the call, and I'm really happy that you're doing that. And like I was telling Serena, I'm like, this is just so unbelievable that your initials of your nonprofit and her initials are the same. The HHH.
I know, right? Yes.
So, yeah, you never know. For people, we put each other together. The universe always does that. So we want to start off by, first of all, talking a little bit about you and how you became this wonderful nonprofit, and then just share some other things that you want to share with the audience.
Okay. Well, my name is Christina Atkins. I am a Chicago Windy City girl, born and raised on the north side in Cabrini Green. And I am now a Georgia Peach. I've been there since 2016, but again, my roots run deep in Chicago. And so how my nonprofit started and came about for me, It was my upbringing. So I remember days of going to the food pantries or the churches and being in line to get food or different items to help carry us to the end of the month. And for some reason, individuals think because you need help and service that there's not a human and a heart in there. And so for me, I always, they wouldn't say it, but you can hear the whispers, or it was an embarrassment to be able to receive help and not lose your dignity. So my great grandmother is who raised me, but I recall her going and getting the turkeys or the hams, or people wouldn't go because of the shame. Like, I don't want my neighbors to see me begging or getting help. And sometimes help is needed. And so the name of it is Heaven Has a Heart, just to remind people that individuals are human. Just because they need help or assistance or may not have what we have does not make them less of a person because they need help and assistance. So Heaven Has a Heart, we started off at first with teenage moms. So it was Heavenly Hands, and we worked with teenage moms because I'm a product of teenage moms, and they are the first ones to be written off. And so we started in that arena first with domestic violence shelters and teen moms organizations, helping them. And so we transitioned to Heaven Has a Heart, and we serve now in Zimbabwe. So last year, we went and we stayed in Africa for 4 months, finding which city that we was going to partner with and see what resources was needed. So on that journey, we made desks for people in Kenya, help with clean water and get education. So now our main foundation is in Zimbabwe. So for us, we think in America we are extremely spoiled. But what about the individuals that do not have electricity? So I was telling them in Zimbabwe, our kids panic and have a heart attack when the internet goes down. How about there's no electricity for internet to go down and everything is off the sun? And so our job is, thank you, our job is to expose young people to what we think is poverty here, to give them a look at it on the other side of the world and let them know that they're still humans, and for them to be able to appreciate the resources that we have here. Just the basics: hot water and cold water. When I'm over in Africa, there's a white bucket. Whatever water come out that faucet, that's what you use. It may be cold, it may be hot, but that's what you're showering in. And just to be able to merge them with the communities over in Zimbabwe. So our main three projects in Zimbabwe, we do education, because as some people know and may not know, we have public and free education here, but that's not how it works in Africa. So it's like $2.50 a day. So you decide, am I buying a loaf of bread or sending Johnny to school? Which one? Do we eat or do we pay for you to go to school? Now imagine a households with multiple kids and the income is really, really low there. So we did a bunch of educational scholarships while we were there, and we continue to do it. And our second largest initiative is our HIV and AIDS awareness for youth 15 to 22. Because of the culture in Africa, we know be fruitful and multiply, but the youth are being fruitful and multiplying, but infecting each other with HIV and AIDS. So monthly, we have sessions where we get 75 to 80 youth, and they come in and have activities and learn about the way of safe sex. Because we know, or we may or may not know, in those cultures, birth control or protecting yourself is voodoo. It's not talked about. That's not something that you do, because you be fruitful and you multiply, but that is causing a high spike in HIV and AIDS in that population. So next July will be our first project where we take a group of youth from Chicago and Atlanta. The goal is to take 10 of them, and they'll be there for 14 days. They'll serve for 7 days and then explore the country for 7 days and be able to work hand in hand with the youth in the camps, in the schools, and seeing what it is to stay with no electricity, no water, but not running water, and seeing how They wake up every day. This what they do with no electricity. They do everything before the sun go down. And just being able for them to, one, appreciate the world. And there's a world outside of the United States. Like there are people that are outside of the United States that are suffering, and we take our basic necessities for granted. And just to teach our youth that we can serve abroad and you can go back to your community and still serve your brother and your sister. Just because you don't know them or they're not next door to you, just because people need help and assistance does not make them less of a person or should lose their dignity because they need help.
Well, Christine, I know Serena wants to say something. You go, lady.
I'm dying over here. Christina, first and foremost, thank you so much for sharing your story, your journey. I believe this is how, and we both run charities that are called HHH.
Yes.
So, and, you know, my journey is very similar to yours. And it's quite funny because Help Heal Humanity is registered in Canada and the US.
Okay.
And a lot of people, because our main right now is Haiti.
Okay.
Right? And so a lot of people are like, yeah, okay, Haiti. But what about here? What about home? And I'm like, and I do that piece.
Yeah.
You know, I do that piece as well. But it's like you said, I don't think people, even in our, like you said, in the USA, in Chicago, in Canada, I don't think people actually realize how bad it really is in other parts of the world. And it's exactly like you said. They don't have electricity to charge their phones. They don't have iPads. They don't have food in their bellies. And so we do the student sponsorship program as well. And now now, in addition to building the school and doing the school sponsorship, we have to start adding meal plans because the kids are starving, like malnutrition. And it's like you said, I don't think until you experience, and a lot of people will not experience what you have seen and done and gone through, and perhaps what I have, and I think other charities such as ours, is that these very core basic needs that we take for granted, there's so many people in the world that don't have that.
Yes.
And even though, you know, there is, especially the US, there's like extreme pockets of poverty and low income and all of, you know, food insecurity, housing insecurity. However, at the end of the day, even in those extreme circumstances, if that person really wanted to walk into a Starbucks or walk into a shelter or walk into a hospital, there's still something there where there are millions, if not billions, of children, youth, and families around the world that have spirits that you could never imagine that don't have that opportunity, period.
That's it.
Period. And, you know, so I commend you on having that voice, because I know how hard it is. Like, it's tired. I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of strength and the amount of work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're both doing. You know, I just want to say too is that this has taught me, just learning about Serena's and being part of Help Humanity, and then you too, Christine. Is it Christine or Christina? I don't want to make sure I'm saying
Christina. It's fine, Christina.
Okay. Christina, I want to make sure I say it right. That, you know, me coming in, because I'm so used to like doing the behind the scenes, making sure, you know, internet, social, all that kind of stuff. But when I was brought into this world of nonprofit, you know, I had to cry when I first met Serena and what she goes through. And then when I read your story and what you do in the other nonprofit, I'm like, I always tell Serena, I'm like, people need to wake up.
Yeah.
I said, something is not right here somewhere, or something right here is not there anymore, or whatever. And to sit there and get upset, and knowing that these children from different countries are going through what you said, they don't know they don't even think they're going to have water. You know, we got kids in the United States. It's not too hot. It's too. I'm like, what the heck? Are you nuts? I mean, I hate to say it like that, but it just burns me up. You know, the more because of the awareness that I've got and understanding and then seeing people now, they complain. I stopped complaining. I even used to complain about stuff. That stopped me. I was like, Barbara, shut up. You can't say anything.
Yes.
I mean, I
and
think
it's so funny.
2 hours. I think it was like out. Yeah, I was out for 2 hours, my internet and light, and I was having a panic attack. And then I thought about, like you and Serena with the kids and, in other countries, they're out all the time.
Mhm.
So what are you talking about? Yeah.
And it's so funny. Serena just drunk a glass of water. And so for me, it made me think of when I was in Kenya to see the mothers that have to train their children how to go fetch water out of dirt, because that's where the cleanest water is when you go to the rivers. And so to see them fetching the water to get clean water and then to carry it on their heads, and this water is used for everything. It's used for cooking, it's used for drinking. But the downfall of that is the little girl that is learning how to do that to help her mom, there's no school, there's no education. They're choosing between survival or going to school. Or the little boys that's learning how to walk the cows or walk the lambs. And so it's either you learn how to do this so you can eat, or you miss out of school. So it's so like, and so the kids, for us, it's just a luxury. Like, we not walking, we ain't carrying the 5-pound bucket on our head. And they spend hours going through the water just to get it. And then it doesn't last for weeks, it lasts for a few days. And then they have to go back to it. So then the child, once she gets to a certain age, she has to miss school because she has to help mom to get the water that's needed to drink, wash the clothes on the hand. And so, like Serena said, until you see it, and it's one thing when you see videos of it, but to go there and be in the midst of it, when I say, like, it's just, we shouldn't, that the complaints should just come out of our dictionary,
Thank you.
period. We just should remove it out of the dictionary, because if you switch shoes with anyone from Haiti, after these other places, you will be amazed. So complaints should be removed from the dictionary, because we don't have not one reason. And as Serena said, we can walk into a hospital, we can walk into there may be a pantry to get some assistance, but that's not the options that they have over there.
They don't. And you know what I noticed too, real quickly before, because I know we're getting time and I want to make sure you get your information. But what other thing I noticed when you go over to the other countries and help them out, the kids they got the smile on their face. They're so happy. Their spirit is so uplifting. It's like they uplift me. And I'm like, but I'm thinking about what they're dealing with, and they got this wonderful spirit. It just amazes me.
It's so funny you say that. And I know we're running out of time. For Christmas, we went, and Dollar Tree had these handheld games that had water in it that you just flip up and down. And we gave those out. When I tell you, I thought we gave out cars. Like Oprah said, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. The gratitude for anything that they receive, and Serena can vouch for me, is the most humblest. And like you said, they smiles and they spirits, and in your head you was like, but you don't have this, but you don't have that, and they spirits are so big, and you just be like, that was from Dollar Tree, that was $1.09, and you would have thought you gave them a car. It was just something in their hand that had water in it, and they were playing with it. But the gratitude of being able to have something outside of the dirt and the rocks that they play with is just, like you said, the gratitude of when they receive anything, and their way of saying thank you is just like, oh my God, it is amazing.
It is incredible.
Amazing.
Wow. Well, lady, we've been telling all the other guests that, it seemed like time goes so quick, and we always want to say we're going to do like another, we want to bring you back. So we're basically want to bring you back to hear more and stories. And even if you have other people on your board, so I wouldn't mind, you coming on with them too. Yeah. But I want to make sure Serena can hear, because I know she's having a little trouble with internet. Because I know she wants to probably say something. She's like, oh, I want to say something. Can you hear me, Serena? She's just smiling. Well, what I'll let you do, Christina, is to tell them how they can contact you.
Okay. Yeah. On our website, you can go to heavenhasaheart.org. And we also are on Facebook and Instagram at Heaven Has a Heart.
Okay. So let me just make sure, because what I like to do is to put that on the screen.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. This little technology here. There we go.
Yes.
Then make sure that they have you. Please, everybody, support this wonderful nonprofit. Heaven Has a Heart. I love the title of that. And I think we're kindred nonprofit organizations because, like I said, H is the big heart I see for all of us. So, Christina, is there any last words that you would? No, what I want to do, because what we do with our guests for like 30 seconds,
okay,
we want to give you just any last thoughts that you want to give the audience, then we'll come back up.
Okay. So I would just want, again, as we said, we thank you for taking this time to hear about Heaven Has a Heart. You can find out more information at heavenhasaheart.org. And I want you to remember that heaven do has a heart, and to treat people how you would like to be treated. Thank you so much for having Heaven Has a Heart on this show tonight. Thank you.
You are such a beautiful soul. Thank you for sharing your story. I'd love to talk to you off camera.
Yes.
It's like you said, until you gone there, experienced it, lived it, nobody fully understands it. So I think we can have the kind of conversations that most can't. So thank you for having that heart, for changing the world, and to be that voice for the children who don't have one. So thank you.
Serena. Thank you.
Yes, and I would love, like I said, I'd love to talk to you and meet your students and see what we can do together.
I love that. Yes. Thank you.
All about collaboration. I
love it. Yes.
Well, we will keep in contact with you, Queen.
Okay.
The Queens, because I call them because you're Queens. And we'll definitely keep in contact. And then from that point, if anybody, Heaven Has a Heart, Help Heal Humanity, all these nonprofits, I'm just saying, I really urge people to really look and be aware and make an awareness in your mind and your heart of what's really going on and what's really important. Look at the bigger picture instead of looking at the small box and saying, oh, woe is me, because our woes are not as much as greater as the others in this world. So Thank you, ladies, again. And we'll see everybody next Thursday.
All right. Bye-bye.
And although it may seem a little mundane, packing up boxes and being on the assembly line, what we're really doing is putting in hundreds of hours into the people on the streets who need us. And they need us in a way that none of us will ever understand. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been on the grounds every day. They know we're coming today, they know we're coming tomorrow, and they look forward to seeing us because we're the one little bit of hope that they have, to have a warm meal in their bellies and to know that somebody in the world is actually caring for them and loving them. And without people like you showing up today to give your time, your energy, and your spirit, none of this is possible. So I want to really say thank you to everyone, because what we're doing here today may seem small, but it's actually really, really big, and it's impacting hundreds and thousands of families. So I thank you, I love you, I look forward to doing this with you today. My name is Serena Bufalino, and I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. Help Heal Humanity is a charity that is focused on unconditional giving, love, and support to some of the most vulnerable communities in the world.